But caring for our parents, when people, I talk to a lot of young people these days who are young adults, married and unmarried, and they're almost saying the same thing, that they don't want to have children. Usually it's because they're saying that they're too expensive. A lot of responsibility and too expensive. Well, thank goodness someone didn't say that about us. We're here. And now, though, that the tables are turned and we're facing our loved ones aging, our parents aging, and, maybe a grandparent, if you're raised by a grandparent, or an aunt or uncle that perhaps is your parent, so to speak. And we're approaching that time where they're too expensive to take care of, but guess what? We can't not have them, okay? Doesn't work that same way. They're already here, and they're already requiring our attention. If not fully physically, then they're requiring our attention mentally to what is ahead. We need to be planning for this approaching, because it is going to approach. We're all going to get older. If we, don't leave this earth before that point, we are going to get older. And if we're not doing everything possible right now to live in optimum health, then guess what? You're going to need assistance, whether it's living with a relative, living in a senior assistant living place, living in hospice, living in a rest home. Those are horrible things, outlooks. And I believe it's because there's such horrible outlooks that is why no one wants to talk about it. Who wants to even think about being in a rest home at some point in their life, or having to put a loved one there? There are, better alternatives, but they're expensive. So if we don't plan for them, if we don't have the resources handy and the finances in order, then chances are that's what it will resort to, is a rest home for that loved one. And even with our own careers, if we aren't taking control to have the type of career that allows us to either retire early or have flexibility, or just to, be able to take paid leave time off or something when that emergency happens, or when a parent has to come and live with you or whatever, then we're not doing all that we can do. We have to be taking care of that now. We have to be thinking and planning for that now. Are you doing that? Do you see a need for doing that? You may be one who is doing it already or has done it prior to the passing of your parents. If so, we need to hear from you, because we can learn from you. The experts are not always those with a degree behind their name, those letters behind their name, a degree up on the wall or whatever. Those are not the only experts. The experts, in my opinion, are those who are living and breathing the situation in which they speak of. So that's so many of us, so many people around us. I can't say it's me, because I'm not there yet, having to care for my parents full time. I did recently care for my mom, who was hospitalized for the first time in 54 years, 55 years. Last time she was hospitalized was to have my younger brother. And so it was pretty, traumatic experience to, guess to kind of sum it up, to see her in that situation. And I flew there to Ohio, and once she was out of the hospital, and with the assistance of my siblings, we gave her 24-hour care. Siblings, and I must not leave out her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Everyone was fantastic. All of those who, came from out of town and just stopped by, called almost daily. My aunts did as well, and some cousins, but everyone rallied around. That was just a short period, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I believe, that she needed that round the clock help. Wow. And I can say just from that short period of time, wow, my hat's off to those who are caregivers for weeks and months and years. It is a lot, and it's expensive if you're not prepared for it. Long-term care in the U.S. costs $205 a day. This is average. $205 a day, or $62.35 a month. $6,235 a month for a semi-private room. So that's, sharing a room with another patient, or $229 a day, which equals $6,965 a month for a private room for your loved one. Do you have $6,900? Nope. Per month, are you ready to pay $6,900 a month if something were to happen and your parent needed to stay in a place where they get medical treatment? Even in the senior assistant living places, costs are outrageous. We're talking $10,000 a month in some places. So what do we do? When do we start? If not now, when? Okay, if not who? If not us, who? Who's going to do it if we don't? Are we like just leaving it up to, aunts and uncles to step in? No, they have their own family and they have their own health and situations and such going on. Are we leaving it up to other siblings? You can't without discussing that. There has to be some discussion among those siblings so that everyone is on the same page and everyone is prepared for it. So we want to talk about, in these coming weeks, the holiday time is upon us, and what better time to discuss these things, because you will be around family members, around the Thanksgiving table, Christmas time, Christmas Eve, when you have the family all gathered around. Please take that time to discuss this situation. It's not going to go away just because no one's talking about it. It's sort of like that 800-pound gorilla in the room. It has to be addressed. And the earlier you address it, the better prepared you are. The better prepared you are, the less financial, I don't want to say ruins, but sometimes it could come down to that, where a family could experience financial ruins, and they could have to declare bankruptcy because they're just not prepared for this at all. So it's a downward spiral, I guess, a financial downward spiral that could occur should you not prepare. There are living trusts that you could and should look into. There are living wills. And everyone should have a will. You should look into having a will. And if you have a will and it's not updated, now it's the time to do that as well. Do you realize the effect of not having a will? Do you know how long, if you own a car, if you own a house, if you own a boat, you own any kind of property, just, valuables, minks, diamonds, just any kind of valuables. Do you know how long all of those things would get tied up in probate court if you're not prepared to hang on to those things legally? Then the courts can come in order to settle out the debt of the deceased, the court can come in and just take all of what they need to cover the debt. And it can take a long time to do so. Also, the laws are different in each state. I mean, not every state is different, but you should always go according to your state so that you make sure that you're filing everything properly. So look that up. Go, just Google living trusts and Google living will or something like that, and find out how you can create your own and find out what happens if you don't have one. It's pretty shocking, and it should hopefully get you moving into action to get one. So I'm just going to, keep this one kind of brief and just as an intro of what we are going to be talking about in the coming months. We must be prepared. It's just, I can't even stress it enough. And then the medicine, oh my gosh, the cost of medicine. If your loved one, if your parents are on medicine, maybe not everything is covered by Medicare. It's just the cost there is atrocious as well. So I just really hope that everyone who's listening, who's on board, dialed in and listening, just will take heed to this and will not put it off. We cannot put this off for another day, a rainy day. We're coming up on a 1-year anniversary of my sister-in-law's passing, and she was only 54 last year. And when that happened, it was a shock to us all. So, you can't just say, oh, we have plenty of time to plan. My brother had, when I was helping him at his home afterwards, we came across this organizer that I had created and trademarked years ago, back in the early 2000s. And it is in part of it was for your final wishes. And the final wishes, meaning, what do you want to have done at your funeral? Are you military? Where is your will? Where is this and that kept? Do you have safety deposit boxes? All these things, all these answers to questions that come up when you pass, and others have to take care of your final wishes. Well, that notebook was quite empty that he had prepared, and that he purchased. It was quite empty, and so he made the right steps. He and his wife made the right steps to get the organizer, but then you have to fill it out. So, and I, call him out on that, but he's certainly not the only one. There's more people who fall short in that area than who are prepared. So I hear someone on the line with me. I don't know if you wish to.
Hi, Terry. It's Mona Lisa.
Hi there. How are you?
Hey. I am good. It's a little past my night time, but I wanted to come in and support you.
Oh, bless you.
That's
I appreciate it so much.
That's definitely my topic. I mean,
yeah.
People act like they're going to live forever. And like I said, I've lost 5 marriages. I've had 4 husbands that died, and nobody planned. I mean, was it last year I lost my brother, my aunt, and my sister within 90 days of each other.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, that's how I hurt myself. I mean, I fed 1,000 people. I just, I grieve in a different way. So I took on all this stuff and I hurt myself. But I also encourage people to write down what they want, to make provisions, because, I believe that money is for the living, not for the dead. I mean,
You're right.
People spending thousands and thousands of dollars for all of this stuff, but I have mine written down, and I got a different philosophy about life and death, probably a little different from a lot of people. But please don't leave it up to other people to
Yep.
You know, people are busy grieving, and when you don't make arrangements and there's not enough money and people have to struggle, it just it makes it all the more harder.
Yeah.
You know, so
it does. And
I have mine written down, and it's with my lawyer.
Good. Yeah, I was just speaking about that a little bit ago and saying how, you know I'm guilty as well as not having it updated. So writing it down,
Right.
you know, having that will, that's a good first step, and an important one, and one that I'm glad I made, but now it needs to be updated. So yeah, it's you don't want to leave that for your loved ones who are grieving. And boy, I tell you, and it even takes time when you do have these things in place. It takes time to find them if you don't let people know where they are. And maybe they don't have to skimp and scrape for a funeral if they knew that there is money
Absolutely
here and there.
My mother was an advocate of that. Every important paper was always in a big metal box that didn't burn up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And but one thing I did do, like any checking accounts that I have or anything like that, I always have a POD on them, and that's paid after death, so that any money you have, it doesn't have to go into a probate or anything. If you got a designated person and you have a POD on any of your checking accounts or banking accounts, that person can just come and get the money out. It's so much different. I didn't know about that for a long time.
Wow. And I, excuse me, this is my first time hearing about this now. So, okay, tell me again. So POD.
It's called a POD. It's called paid after death. So I have my brother on them. And every bank account that I have, it says Mona Lisa Brock, POD Luther Brock, which means it's not necessarily a joint account, but if I die, he has immediate access to anything.
Wow. That is so, and every bank offers this as just, with your regular.
The two that I use, Bank of America does, the credit union does, the ones that I deal with, they do.
Wow. Well, I am definitely going to look into this right away and bring this up at our next meeting time. But how wonderful is that? Now, see, there's something, and like I was saying, everyone is an expert, not just those who have titles behind their name, certificates on their wall, but the real experts are those who have lived it, who have lived through the situation that we are discussing. And you are certainly an expert. Having
thank you. Well, just making mistakes, you know what I mean, and having to walk through some of that, can make all the difference in the world.
Oh, true.
What else? There was something else that I wanted to say too. Like, I don't have what I want with my family because, they would probably do what they want, but I have it with my attorney. I don't want no big funeral. Wrap me up the same day, put me in the ground. And I really want to go to my first husband. That's okay. And have a party, have a celebration of life. And my kids would not do what I wanted to do. So I have it with another responsible person, because when you're in the middle of grieving, you can't always make those decisions. I found that out too. So, but definitely having everything written down in one place. People don't need to have to dig through and look through. I had a friend, her husband died. She didn't even know how to pay a bill. She didn't know where anything was. She didn't know if he had insurance. She didn't know how to deal with the VA. She didn't even know how to pay the water bill.
Oh my goodness. Oh my. Yeah, I've seen situations like that where they were just kind of left clueless because it was never their responsibility. But, you got to make it your responsibility at some point, even just to ask questions, while you're living, while you're, both of you are living. Ask, where is this? Where is that? But yes, I'm big on having things written down in one place. I have, I know it's not always the safest thing, but hey, I let my daughter know where these, notebooks. I have a notebook full of information. And, I'm not saying it's not the safest place because of her knowing where it is. I fully trust both of my children with that information. But, I know that, where is the safest place to keep it? Mine's in a notebook, passwords and things like that. Some may say, you should keep it online or, on your computer or whatever, but who knows?
Well, with all the fires in California, it really has me with a different mindset,
Yeah.
About where things, and that's where, I'm from the Bay Area, and, people people would run out the house with insurance papers, you know what I mean? But when you have something that's coming that quick, now I'm rethinking that, and maybe it should be in a place like a cloud or something. I don't know. You got me writing a journal. I have refused to write a journal in about 15 years. But after you reading your book and you being able to recall so many things because of the journaling. So every night, if I don't do anything but write a little, I appreciate you for that too.
Good, definitely. Yeah, because who does remember those things? It's comforting sometimes to read the stuff when you look back on it, and other times it's funny when you see what you've written years back, and at other times it's just not so good to read. Wow, I was in pain.
But even with pain, what you get to know is that you get through it. There's another side. If you stand up and walk through some stuff, you can get from pain into clarity, into freedom. So, without seeing those steps, you know what I mean? A lot of people think you just be in pain and you just stay there. That's not what happens.
That's so true. That is so true. Yeah. There's great purpose all around for writing a journal. But I agree with the having things on the cloud. Then people say, okay, well, you're vulnerable. People can just, hack whatever and get your information. Perhaps having it both places, written down as well as electronic. I know when we created years ago, when I created this medical journal called I think I have it here, I'll show it for the camera, my Wellness Helper. And I know it's backwards on the screen here, but my Wellness Helper, I created this because I was ill and going through all of these, being serviced by 3 different doctors and on all this different medication. And you know how it is, by the time, you could be in pain today, and then by the time you go to the doctor 3 weeks from today, you don't have the same pain, but then you need to be able to recall it. When did it happen? What did you eat before it happened? Or, what were you doing? And all that stuff. So that's what prompted me to start this journal. And I trademarked it, and people loved it, who I shared it with and sold it to. But it is a hard copy. It's something that, like you said, in the case of a fire or something, when you're ready to dash, you don't think to have this, but this was good. And I made it small so that it was very handy to carry with you to a doctor appointment. And it had your medical information in it, your doctor's business cards, and a lot of different sections. Family medical history, I think I said that. But I developed with a business partner, we developed it further from this small journal to a larger one where you had sections for, like I said, final wishes and other home care record keeping. And that was back in the day, and not everyone kept things electronically, but we were just getting into that age of I think back, remember they had Palm Pilots?
Oh yeah. The Palm Pilot, yeah.
Right. telling our age, right?
Yes.
A Palm Pilot. I had one of those Palm Pilots. So it was back in the Palm Pilot days. and any
Wow.
and you young folks listening to this would not know what that is, but look it up.
Yeah, it was kind of like my iPad or something. You just
Yep.
was able to write notes. It wasn't online or anything,
I know.
but
It was
you
the
were just able to keep info in there. And
name,
hopefully you're going to
context.
think about this because you're the person that comes up with all these great ideas. But there needs to be a structure for where you keep things, and there's got to be more than one copy of it.
I know.
You know.
Yep. Yep.
So if you could think about that,
well,
because things happen, and like those people that ran out their houses, they ain't got their insurance papers, they don't have this, and I always tell people, I was in the earthquake, I was director of that mental health facility and substance abuse when they had the earthquake, and nobody had any money. I had
oh my goodness,
$7,000 up under the rug, okay? Everybody's money was in the bank. The banks went down, okay? They didn't have no cash.
Wow. Yep.
I had to fork out cash.
Wow. Yep. You're smart. The good old our elders were smart too. Our ancestors and all those who had the mattress under the money under the mattress mentality.
Yeah. All that.
Yeah.
I got some of that under the mattress too. Not a lot, but there's some up under it. So, maybe you need to come up with a step-by-step with to have something that.
I know.
We can't always think all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and then at the time when we, back when we were developing this and we kept getting opposite, we listened to too many people. Some were saying, oh, I love this. It was a 3-ring binder. I love this. I can add pages to it and blah, blah, blah. And others are saying, no way, you need something electronic. And like I said, the Palm Pilot is what they were thinking of because that was what was, the new thing back then. And so we started to look into the electronic, and it was very expensive, and we just kind of fell flat on the marketing of all of this. And that beautiful little family organizer thing just kind of stayed there. And then what happened after that? Katrina. And again, people don't have time to carry a binder out of the house with them. And that's when I said, man, we should have continued with the electronic progress, getting this done electronically, and having a place where a password, and also if you're overseas, if you are traveling on vacation and you lose your passport, you lose your medications, or, in your luggage that gets lost or whatever, you could have a password that you go onto the cloud, put this password in, and all your information is there. That was what
happened to me. I went to Hawaii on vacation, left my bag with all my diamonds and my medication in the limousine. And I ended up at the hospital at Kaiser the whole first day because I was on hormones then. It felt like I was kicking drugs, or something. And I stopped taking hormones after, because they had Kaiser in Hawaii. But I got the hormones, I finished my treat, and the people that got my bag sent it back to me with all of my diamonds in it, all of my medication.
Wow,
they
nice.
sent everything back because I had business cards in it. Every year for about 5 years, I sent them a big old basket full of all kind of goodies in it. But just getting lost and them not having the records and being so ill,
that is horrible.
Good.
And so, there has to be a place. There has to be a place. And like you said, so that everyone can access it. I mean, not everyone, but those who are your beneficiaries.
Well, I'm one of the people that got hacked. You know what I mean? So I'm just building everything back up.
Yeah.
So now, I had to put a blockage on my credit and all that because I'm just figuring out, getting all that stuff taken care of, So, but think about that. And even that segment that Kitty did about being ready, all those canned goods I had that I would give away and all that, because I don't do canned foods.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time my roommate, she doesn't eat like I do. I have someone upstairs because there was nobody upstairs for like 3 years and I was here by myself. So I got a student up here. And, she eats what she eats. But now outside, I have some disaster stuff because everybody's getting a turn,
Yep.
So
Yep.
I got my lanterns that came in the other day.
Oh,
I've got some canned vegetables and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, I'm getting prepared.
Yeah. And that's the only time I tell people should be the only time that you eat ramen noodles. Those
Come
little
on now.
packaged.
Oh, God. I'm not eating none of those. Those have 1,000 milligrams of stuff. I'm not
That's
doing
plastic. They're plastic. It really is.
No,
It's bad stuff.
I'm not doing that. I'll eat some canned vegetables. I got some black beans out there, just some non-perishable stuff. So I'm not eating no top ramen.
Yeah. But yeah, so you got to really, being prepared all the way around, whether we are talking for a natural disaster or aging, we have got to get more preparedness, minded.
Right, because I think about, if I'm still single at the time that, you know what I mean, and my family has longevity, 102, 98, 96. Nice. If I am lucky enough to live like that in my right mind, it's a couple of my children, I don't even want them around. There's some of them that have the empathy to be able to care for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you've got to have all that written down and in place.
You really do. So that's why I really just, I hope that others will, join us on these calls, because I really want to do this as a ongoing thing, at least as a series through the first of the year, a series, because it's happening way too often. And I know the girlfriends I have who we talk about this on a regular basis, because they are right now caring for their parents, and their parents have dementia, Alzheimer's. They have, issues that at times we're laughing about it. And it's like, you're laughing to keep from crying. Yeah. Because it's just so.
And the biggest thing about that is you got to make sure you take care of yourself. Yes. You have to have some respite, and you have to allow them to do as much as they can. Man, going to that training was one of the best things that I ever did, because it taught me, it had me put myself in their shoes. And I allowed her to be independent. My mother was an independent woman, okay? She would give me money and I put it up and would do things when she was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she said, I pay my way. I was making $300,000 a year then. I don't need your money. She called me rich son, aren't you? The rich beast. I don't need your money. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, it's just a blessing to have people who have gone through it to be able to tell us about it, because we think we know until we are in it. So
yeah, when we're in it, I did 5 years, and then she went to my brother's and she passed right after that. She said, "You putting me out," but I'm the youngest out of 6, but everybody wasn't equipped to do that.
Yeah.
One brother would come and take her to the hospital. One brother would respite occasionally, but the other sister, her house was 2-story. She'd have fell down and broken neck because she wasn't going to hold her to. So the family unit has to be together if there's more than one person. And if there's people that don't want to do nothing, you can't be resentful at them, because I had one sister, she said, I got a life and a schedule and and you know what? While I was angry at her, but when I take another mindset and say, listen, I am blessed. My mother took care of 6 kids. Now I get to care for my mother.
Yep.
So when you change your perspective on what's happening and not be angry and resentful and try to enjoy the time you have, it's different. But it took me a minute to get there.
Yeah. And every family has one. Every family has several. Every family will have that situation where some will and some won't. And that's
right.
Yeah. So that's good information to just remind people. That's a lot of wasted energy to just, be hateful. And it was lovely talking with you. And I am going to, like I said, I'm going to just keep this topic going because it is so important. And we learned something here. I'm going to look this up, the POD, paid after death.
POD. Right.
Yeah, that benefit that is. But anyway, well, this is
All right, sweet. Love
yeah,
you, my
well,
sister.
yeah, love you too, and thank you for joining. And this is Terry, aka T Raw, helping baby boomers and others live long, earn strong, and have a great green time. In the meantime, me and Mona Lisa just had a wonderful time here. So
Yes, we did.
thank you. Ma'am.
All
All
right.
right.
I'll talk next week, okay?
Yes, ma'am. All right. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye bye.